Egypt. Throughout our civilization, there has never been a country more intriguing to the human race than Egypt. The pharaohs. Who were the pharaohs? Where did they go? Where did they came from? The pyramids. What is the pyramids? Who constructed? We've been told stories about how they were built by slaves. Obviously, it's not possible. Who built the pyramids? Why has Egypt been the most focal point of every wealthy country in history? Are we being told stories? A very important factor one should consider. The three pyramids inside the Giza Plateau simulate Orion's belt. And inside the three pyramids shaft, they point directly to Orion. It sounds like somebody's leaving you a message about Orion, don't you think? Contradictory to popular belief, Egypt is not the only place in the world where one can find pyramids. As a matter of fact, you could find pyramids just about everywhere on Earth. From Mexico to Chile to underwater to China. Yes, China. Right now, China is currently the largest holders of pyramids, and not even the Chinese people know about it. And it's standing right in front of them, in plain sight. Egyptologists currently are teaching that the pyramids are roughly 3,000 years old. Recently, National Geographic has raised it up to 4,500 years old. However, based on the current information and the founding at hand, the truth is the pyramids are far older, much more older. It appears that we are being deceived. Space, the final frontier. Our galaxy is referred to as the Milky Way. In our Milky Way, we have over 400 billion stars, and around each stars we have minimum 1 to 10 or 100 or more planets around it. As a matter of fact, we have far more planets than we have the numbers to count. If we here, obviously somebody would be there. The chances of us going out in space and finding nobody is absolutely impossible, improbable in every way, shape, or form. If you're not hearing about life, it's only because it benefits somebody else to keep their mouth shut. Is that a face on Mars?
Soundstripe.
Always the possibility that it was just a trick of light and shadow or something that was an accident of nature. When we got the high-resolution image, to our amazement, all of the secondary facial features were there too. Eyebrow, irises, nostrils, and lips with the correct size, shape, location, and orientation to be portrayals of a humanoid face. The odds against each of those things happening by accident range from 1 in 10 to 1 in 10,000. When you put them all together, the odds against all of them being accidents of nature are 100 billion to 1. Based on the results of the test, the object is artificial beyond a reasonable doubt.
The Mars Global Surveyor went into orbit in late 1997, and since has been sending back literally tens of thousands of exquisite pictures of all of Mars. But Malin Scientific and Dr. Malin himself, who have the chief contract for the camera, have actually only been releasing these pictures in dribs and drabs, spaced out over several months and even years. Until Arizona Senator John McCain let NASA know in no uncertain terms that there would be a day of reckoning if in fact it were proven that the agency had deliberately withheld vital information either from the Congress or from the American taxpayer. Suddenly, without warning, JPL released 9 new Cydonia images, some as much as 2 years old. Eventually, 60,000 new images of Mars were dramatically released, and on those, some breathtaking discoveries have now begun to quietly unfold. For instance, perched on a mile-high cliff in the Martian equivalent of the Grand Canyon, Valles Marineris, there is something which gives the impression of being the equivalent of a Martian flying saucer. As you can see, this is a distinct oval. In fact, it's a convex oval with the sun coming from this direction, the shadowed side here, a fluted rim hanging several hundred feet over this very steep vertical cliff a mile above the valley floor. If you look at the image on the right, you can actually see that in addition to it being oval, it has a pointed front. And on the front, there are windows. In the back, with very interesting symmetry configuration, there appear to be the engines. In June of 2000, we discovered potentially our most extraordinary artifact, this mile-long, several hundred-foot-wide structure with translucent exterior, a brilliant sun glint, and evenly spaced ribs. It looks for all the world like an artificially constructed glass tunnel, which some have termed, like Arthur Clarke, a glass worm on the surface of a planet where it has, again, no business being. We have over a mile-long, curvilinear, convex structure with these extraordinary ribs that appear to be some kind of structural support. And right in the middle, there's a brilliant sun glint and a darker shadow, indicating in the model that this is a constructed object, that maybe it's a transportation tube. And this little thing, which actually is several hundred feet wide on the scale of the photograph, is perhaps a car, trapped in the middle of the tube when whatever disaster hit Mars and broke the tube at this point hit the planet. It's sometimes hard to gauge what's going on Mars from a two-dimensional photograph. So what we did was go to one of our Enterprise mission colleagues, Chris Joseph, and ask him to submit this image to a shape from shading algorithm. What that allows us to do is to recreate a three-dimensional construction of the two-dimensional form. And what we clearly see is an undulating glass-like tunnel with a sharp break at the position of the car, continuing on down the valley, as one would expect of a greatly eroded ancient artificial structure on the planet Mars. Because this is such a controversial discovery, what we did was what you do in any science, go to another opinion. So we got Kinthea and Fred Torres to generate a moving animated diagram of the same structure using the same shape from shading algorithm. And what you see here is a pan around this little valley and then the tube. And if you look carefully over here, you can see that there's a definite 3D structure to this object with regular spaced ribbing high above the valley floor. Whatever these are, they are not sand dunes. They appear to be structural components of a tube. And as we continue to pan down this valley, which is created by some unknown geological process long after this tube was ever built, you can see that these ribs are on the edges of the valley, not along the floor, something again that sand dunes just don't do. So what we seem to be seeing is the most extraordinary Mars surveyor find, namely a huge work of megalithic engineering lying on an ancient Martian plain. The great mystery at this point seems to be if the Enterprise mission and its colleagues can find all this and so much more, then why can't NASA? Or is there something more? Is it possible that they have seen what we have seen and also understand what's really there?
Okay, let's recap. A catastrophe happened on Mars during our ancient time, at a time when it had technology equal or far greater to us. And the proof is currently out there for anyone to see it. Are we living in a sci-fi reality movie?